What's up, everyone? Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick, and I have a live show review. So, I just got back from good old Detroit to go see Phil Anselmo and The Illegals, Battlecross and Shitlife. Great name for a band, by the way. This was a really interesting show for me because this was Phil Anselmo going on tour with his band The Illegals, and they were covering all Pantera songs. Now, I went there thinking they were just covering Vulgar Display of Power, but it turns out they were covering a lot more. So this show was at Harpos in Detroit. Now, I haven't been to Harpos in almost a decade. I think the last show I went to there was Summer Slaughter 2010. And I like the venue. It's a really nice venue. It's got great acoustics, giant stage, but the neighborhood is kind of sketchy there. Sometimes bordering on a demilitarized zone. I've seen a lot of crazy shit there. And just where we parked, off the street, you could see tons of boarded up houses. This was definitely a section of Detroit that's been hit kind of rough. And of course, the parking is generally pretty rough there. Like, you have to park either on the street or random small lots scattered throughout the neighborhood. It's kind of inconvenient. There's no real big lot attached to this really nice venue because this venue holds a lot of people. And this was pretty close to a sold-out crowd there. So we get there, and the opening band, Shitlife, is on. This is a two-man grindcore band, or death grind. I would say mostly grindcore. Short, fast, insane songs, just a guitarist and a drummer. Drummer was an absolute maniac, kind of reminded me a lot of Origin in terms of like the speed of the blast beats, and just really insane work. Not a tremendous amount of groove to it. Vocals alternated between low growls and really kind of obnoxious high screams, but overall it was kind of a fun grindcore act. Definitely reminded me a lot of Pig Destroyer in terms of just how abrasive and fast it was. Not bad. I'd actually check them out again. And they definitely warmed up the crowd well with some pretty fucked up song titles. Yeah, they seem like they're having a lot of fun up there. And yeah, they were pretty good. So yeah, check them out. Now, next up was Battlecross. These guys are actually from Battle Creek, Michigan / Detroit. And they're kind of thrash metal, but there's little bits of metalcore in there and some death metal, so it's kind of an odd hybrid. But it's very fast, very energetic, very shreddy. Lots of, good palm-muted, chuggy, thrashy breakdowns in there. Everything's very high-paced. There's even a fair amount of blast beats in it, so they definitely kind of waver on the death metal side. They put on a solid show, just pretty much ripped through a set of rituals. Now, they usually cover Pantera at the end of their set. Last time I saw them, they covered fucking Hostile and pretty much just ripped it up. It was an awesome cover. But there was really no sense in them covering Pantera since we knew Phil was going to do that anyway. So yeah, they had a great set. It was really good seeing them again. They pretty much remind me of a thrashy Black Dahlia Murder in a lot of spots. They definitely have the stage presence and the overall fun factor about them. Definitely a band worth checking out live, and hopefully they're coming out with something soon. It's been a minute. And finally, we got the headliner, Phil Anselmo and the Illegals, covering Pantera. Now, I went in thinking, again, this was going to be all Vulgar Display of Power stuff. And, of course, they opened up with Mouth for War, and the sound was a little rough to begin with. There were some issues with Battlecross, the sound, mostly just the vocals, but the sound overall sounded really good. The vocals kind of dipped in and out. Nothing wrong with the vocals here. Phil sounded great, in fact. I guess he's been taking better care of himself. He quit drinking for the most part, and just seems like he's kind of overall healthier. The guitar sounded a little muddy, so you really didn't get that kind of classic Pantera ring when they opened up with Mouth for War. So it sounded a little muddy, but as the show went on, they corrected a lot of the sounds, and it sounded really good. Now, this was really interesting to see Phil with two guitars rather than just the one for Pantera, because there was a lot of stuff that they did with just one guitarist that was really amazing when I saw Pantera so many fucking years ago. And I really enjoyed it, even though I just still kind of felt like I was watching a cover band with Phil Anselmo there. It was still really good. Like, all the heart was still there. He still loved these songs. He dedicated the entire set to Dimebag and Vinny, and pretty much the crowd too. And it was overall pretty heartwarming. Like, he definitely seemed sincere and all that. I know, there's been a lot of stuff with Phil and some stuff he's done in the past, and I think he's slowly trying to make amends for it. People make mistakes, and hopefully he's not going to make those again. But this set was really interesting because the next song they went into Becoming, and that's where I was kind of shocked, like, oh, okay, we're going to do some stuff off of Far Beyond Driven too. And it was interesting how they did medleys too. I believe after Becoming, they actually squeezed in the closing breakdown to Throes of Rejection. And then a few songs later, I believe it was when they did Walk, they actually squeezed in the closing breakdown to By Demons Be Driven, which I thought was really interesting too. So they did these little cool medleys of songs they weren't going to play in their entirety, but they wanted to squeeze them in a little bit for the fans. And they played some more obscure stuff too, which I appreciated. They squeezed in Use My Third Arm, and their second of two encores was Sandblasted Skin, which I don't think I've seen them play since like 1997, which definitely was a long time ago. But they did bring on the frontman for Battlecross, and they did Fucking Hostile because that's usually the song they covered. I thought that was really cool to include him in that. Plus, I think he got them hired Giraffe Pussy because he came out and had him a joint, and Phil and the guitarist both took a hit, and he said something about him giving them edibles and such because Michigan's all legal now there. And yeah, just seemed like he had a really good time out there. I mean, he might have just been hired hell, but he seemed like he was having a great time. And it was really cool to hear This Love Again and I'm Broken. A lot of these songs that I grew up with. And Pantera was always huge for me when it came down to becoming a metalhead. They're one of those bands that just came off a little bit more extreme and in your face at the time. I did think it was interesting that Sandblasted Skin was the only song they played off of The Great Southern Trendkill. They really kind of just didn't touch any of that. So no War Nerve, no Drag the Waters. I figured maybe they would throw in Suicide Note Part 2 just because it was one of the heaviest, most abrasive songs on that album, but they didn't throw that out there either. Sandblasted Skin was an interesting choice, and I really like that song. I just kind of wanted to hear a little bit more from that album in particular because I love that album. But all in all, it was a really cool show. And it was interesting to see the crowd makeup. There were people around my age because I'm old. And there were a lot of younger people, which those guys never got a chance to see Pantera. And this was probably the closest thing they'll get. So this was a really interesting night as far as the show, just kind of watching the general reaction of the younger kids, like actually seeing something that's close to Pantera versus, you know, the older fans that, you know, we saw Pantera years ago, and those were incredible live shows. And seeing this was like, this is still really good, but, you know, it's still kind of missing something that unfortunately we'll probably never get back. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get any merch because this place was absolutely packed. There was barely a room to fucking move out of there, and we had to pretty much wait for our buddies to get out of the bathroom and had to make room for some chick that looked like she was about to puke. So, definitely kind of parted the ways there. It's like, don't get her away from me at least. But all in all, had a great time. Another kick-ass show in Detroit. I'm going to another one on Sunday, so look out for a video for that on Monday. I'm going to go see Exhumed, Gatecreeper, Necrotic, Judiciary, and Mutilatred. That should be a good fucking time too, and decidedly a smaller show. So yeah, go to shows, support the live acts, because shows are a lot of fucking fun. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do shit like this all the time. Catch you later.